In the dead of night, a shadow moves through occupied France, silent and deadly. They called her the White Mouse, and the Gestapo couldn't catch her. The forest is black, a moonless night in occupied France. Rain drips from heavy pine boughs, slicking the mud underfoot. A shadow detaches itself from a tree, moving with a silence that the damp earth swallows completely. The shadow becomes a woman, her face a pale oval, eyes fixed on a lone German sentry outlined against the faint glow of a guardhouse window. The sentry shifts his weight, the leather of his harness creaking, the steel of his rifle catching a sliver of distant light. He yawns, a plume of vapor in the cold air, completely unaware. The woman closes the final distance, a predator in the dark. There is no sound, no warning, just a sudden, brutal explosion of movement. Her hands, small but impossibly strong, find their mark on his throat. His eyes go wide with shock, the rifle clattering to the ground. The struggle is silent, intimate, and horrifyingly brief. His body goes limp, and she lowers him gently into the mud, a ghost melting back into the impenetrable darkness. This is not a soldier. This is a journalist, a socialite, a wife. This is Nancy Wake, and on the Gestapo's ledgers across 4 occupied nations, she has a different name. They call her the White Mouse. Before the swastika flew over Paris, Nancy Wake's world was one of champagne glasses and typewriter keys. We see her in a sun-drenched Parisian café, her laughter echoing over the clink of porcelain, a stylish hat casting a playful shadow over her sharp, intelligent eyes. She interviews diplomats, writes about the gathering storm in Europe, and moves with an easy grace through a world on the brink. She meets a wealthy French industrialist, Henry Fiacre, and they fall in love. A whirlwind romance gives way to a life of comfortable elegance in a sprawling Marseille apartment overlooking the deep blue of the Mediterranean. Life is beautiful, fragile, and about to be shattered. The year is 1940. The gray uniforms of the Wehrmacht march down the Champs-Élysées. The sound of their jackboots on the cobblestones is a death knell for the France she knew. While others flee or submit, a fire is lit in Nancy Wake. Her apartment, once a place of parties, becomes a clandestine safe house. We see a downed Allied airman, his face young and terrified, being handed a steaming cup of tea by Nancy, her expression one of grim reassurance. She becomes a vital link in an escape line, guiding men over the treacherous Pyrenees mountains to the safety of neutral Spain. Her work is quiet, dangerous, and incredibly effective. But the Gestapo are not fools. They hear whispers of a shadowy figure, an elusive woman who helps their enemies vanish into thin air. Their files begin to fill with reports of her exploits. They tap phone lines, intercept couriers, and torture captured resistance members for a name. But she is always one step ahead, a flicker at the edge of their vision. Frustrated, the head of the Gestapo in Marseille slams his fist on a desk covered in maps and photos. He gives her a code name born of this frustration, Die Weiße Maus, the White Mouse. They place a 5 million franc bounty on her head. She is now the most wanted person in France. Net tightens. Her network is compromised. We see a close-up of a coded message, hastily burned in an ashtray. A door is splintered by a Gestapo boot. Nancy escapes moments ahead of them, leaving behind her home, her life, and the husband she loves. The journey to England is a desperate scramble for survival. She claws her way over snow-covered mountain passes, her lungs burning in the thin, icy air. Her hands are raw, her face chapped by the wind, but her eyes hold a core of unbreakable steel. She arrives in Britain not as a refugee, but as a recruit. The Special Operations Executive, Churchill's secret army, sees her potential. We see her in the stark, gray training grounds of the SOE. She learns the deadly arts of espionage and sabotage. A close-up on her hands, once accustomed to holding a pen, now expertly assembling the fuse on a block of plastic explosive. She masters the staccato rhythm of Morse code, the brutal efficiency of a Sten gun, the silent lethality of a fighting knife. The sophisticated journalist is stripped away, reforged into a weapon. April 1944. A Halifax bomber groans through the turbulent night sky high above central France. Inside, Nancy Wake stands ready, the static line of her parachute clipped in. The green light flashes. She leaps into the black void. The wind screams past her ears, then a violent jolt as the silk canopy blossoms above. Her descent is a terrifying, silent fall toward an unseen earth. She lands not in a clear field but tangled in the high branches of a tree, dangling helplessly. A group of men emerges from the woods below, their faces rough, bearded, etched with the hardship of guerrilla life. These are the Maquis, the French resistance fighters. Their leader looks up at the woman caught in the branches and remarks that he hopes all the trees in France bear such beautiful fruit this year. She shouts down, telling him not to give her that French rubbish. The ice is broken. Their leader has arrived. Her mission is to organize these scattered bands of rebels into a fighting force capable of wreaking havoc on the Germans ahead of the coming D-Day invasion. We see her standing over a map spread across a rough-hewn table in a forest hideout, the faces of the Maquis fighters illuminated by a single flickering lantern. She points a finger, her voice calm and authoritative, outlining an attack. She is no longer just a courier, she is a commander. Her small army swells, from a few hundred to over 7,000 men. The nights become a canvas of covert action. A lone plane drones overhead, and Nancy stands in a misty field, signaling with a flashlight. Parachute canisters drift down from the heavens, delivering a bounty of weapons, ammunition, and explosives. We see the Maquis fighters gleefully cracking open crates, their hands running over fresh steel. Under her command, they become a razor at the throat of the German occupation. A railway line erupts in a shower of fire and twisted metal, derailing a German troop train. A communications line is severed, plunging a regional headquarters into silence. A German convoy, navigating a narrow country road, is torn apart by a perfectly executed ambush from the hillsides. In the heart of the firefight, we see Nancy Wake, firing a machine gun from the hip, her face a mask of cold fury. She fights alongside her men, earning their fierce loyalty not just with her strategy, but with her courage. Then disaster. A surprise German raid on her headquarters scatters her forces. In the chaos, her radio operator is forced to bury their codes and radio. The link to London is severed. The entire resistance network in the Auvergne region, all 7,000 fighters, are now deaf, dumb, and blind. The Allied invasion is imminent, and they have no way to receive their orders. The only other SOE radio operator is 500 kilometers away, across a landscape crawling with German patrols and checkpoints. There is no other option. Nancy Wake finds a bicycle. What follows is a feat of almost superhuman endurance. The first few kilometers are a blur of green countryside, but soon her legs begin to burn. The sun beats down on the cracked asphalt. Sweat stings her eyes. We see a close-up of the worn rubber of the tires, the rusty chain of the bicycle, the grim set of her jaw. She pedals on, fueled by adrenaline and sheer will. She approaches the first German checkpoint. A swastika flag hangs limply in the humid air. A soldier, barely a man, motions for her to stop, his rifle held loosely. She offers a disarming smile, her forged papers held out in a steady hand. The soldier's eyes scan the document, then her face. For a heart-stopping moment, he hesitates. He waves her through. She nods politely and pedals away, her back rigid, waiting for the shout, the sound of a rifle bolt that never comes. This scene repeats itself again and again. Each checkpoint is a new roll of the dice. She rides through driving rain that soaks her to the bone, the water splashing up from the muddy road. She sleeps in barns, burrowing into hay for warmth, her hand never far from the small pistol hidden in her basket. She survives on stale bread and the kindness of strangers in farmhouses who risk death to give her a glass of water. Day bleeds into night, and night into day. The world shrinks to the rhythmic creak of the bicycle and the burning protest of her muscles. We see her face, streaked with dirt and exhaustion, her eyes hollow, but for the pinprick of fierce determination that still glows within. After 72 hours of near-constant cycling, she collapses at the feet of the other operator, delivers her message, and sees the vital link to London restored. Her mission is a success. The codes are transmitted. Orders flow once more to the Maquis. When the D-Day landings begin, Nancy Wake's army is ready. They rise up in a coordinated fury, launching attacks across the region. We see them overwhelming a German garrison, their numbers and ferocity a complete shock to the enemy. They attack bridges, supply depots, and command posts, tying down thousands of German troops who could have been sent to reinforce the Normandy beaches. It is a bloody, brutal climax, the culmination of months of planning, sacrifice, and struggle. As France is liberated, Nancy Wake rides into a cheering village on top of a German armored car, her Maquis fighters celebrating around her. But victory is laced with personal tragedy. She returns to Marseille, to the apartment she once shared with her husband. It is cold and empty. She learns the truth. Henry Fiacca, who had never betrayed her, was arrested by the Gestapo, tortured, and executed months before. We see her stand in the center of the silent living room, a single beam of afternoon sunlight cutting through the dusty air, illuminating a photograph of them on the mantelpiece, smiling in a world that no longer exists. After the war, the accolades pour in. The George Medal from Britain, the Croix de Guerre from France 3 times, the Medal of Freedom from the United States. We see an older Nancy, her uniform jacket heavy with the weight of these honors. Her gaze is still sharp, her spirit undimmed. The woman the Gestapo could never catch, the white mouse who became a lioness of the French resistance, had outlasted them all. She was a testament to the fact that in the darkest of nights, a single, determined light can refuse to be extinguished. Tell me your favorite war story I should talk about next. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video.